All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Incredibles 2, 2018. I've criticized Disney post 1995, even before that, multiple times. But I have to say that the sequel is better than the original, which isn't saying much. Giving this one 2 out of 5 stars. I dislike this flick. My son enjoyed it when he was 9 years old, and his Chinese family took him to see it. I was jealous because I was trying to get him to watch movies at this time, but I was taking him to the wrong kind of movies at Stanford Theater. I made the same mistake when I took his half sister to see The Wizard of Oz there at Stanford Theater. She started screaming when she saw all the smoke and mirrors. Anyways, the Chinese family took my son to see this. It was probably the last time he ever saw a movie in the theater. I'm guessing. I don't know. I know it's been a while for me. The last time I saw a movie in the movie theater was the 3D Hobbit movie. I watched it with my Japanese Buddhist date, and that was the last time I saw her too. Anyways, Incredibles 2 is a 2018 U.S. animation superhero film produced by Pixar Animation Studios here in Emeryville, California for Walt Disney Pictures. The sequel to The Incredibles 2004, it was written and directed by Brad Bird, the same guy who was behind the first Incredibles in 2004. But he wasn't as desperate to make a smash hit as he was for the first Incredibles. Holly Hunter, Craig T. Nelson, Sarah Vowell, and Samuel L. Jackson reprised their roles from the first film with Huck Milliner, Bob Odenkirk, and Catherine Keener and Jonathan Banks joining the cast. The film follows the Incredibles as they try to restore the public's trust in superheroes while balancing family life. Now, I chuckled a couple times at this movie. I thought the baby superhero was kind of goofy at times, but after a while it got kind of old. And it does have the mind control theme, which is kind of cool for a kids cartoon. I mean, let's just say the plot was better than the than the original movie. It's not many instances where I say the sequel is better than the original, but I definitely say it is for this one. I'm probably in the minority here, but following the success of The Incredibles, Bird postponed development on a sequel to work on other films. He attempted to distinguish the script from superhero films and superhero television series released since the first film, focusing on the family dynamic rather than the superhero genre. Incredibles 2 premiered in Los Angeles on June 5th, 2018, and it was theatrically released in the US on June 15th, 2018, in the summertime, just in time for my son to watch it with his Chinese family. The film received positive reviews from critics, with praise for its animation, humor, voice acting, action sequences, writing, and musical score. The film made $182.7 million in its opening weekend, setting the record for best debut for an animated film and grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide, making it the fourth highest grossing film of 2018, the second highest grossing animated film, and the 15th highest grossing film of all time during its theatrical run, along with being Pixar's third film to gross $1 billion after Finding Dory and Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is another halfway decent Disney film, I have to say. I don't know. It seems like Disney sequels are better than the originals, at least for the Pixar stuff. It also became the highest grossing animated film in the US and Canada, as well as the highest grossing Pixar film until the release of Inside Out 2 in 2024. So this one is definitely cash cow for Disney Pixar. The Incredibles. Apparently there's an Incredibles 3, but I haven't seen that one. It might be still in the works. The film was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film at the 76 Golden Globe Awards and 91st Academy Awards, but lost both awards to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The film was also the winner of the 2019 Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Animated Movie. A sequel titled Incredibles 3 is in development and is slated for a 2028 release. Disney trying to go back and make money after the utter failure of a Snow White remake, although it did get somewhat of a bounce from online streaming, I guess. I have it on my list of movies to watch just so I can trash all that woke nonsense that Disney's trying to push. And even though it had a little bounce from home sales, I think it's still in the low twos average rating on IMDb, which is amazing for a Disney film. It's just incredible. All right. Production company Pixar Animation Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studios and Studios Motion Pictures. Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. All right. Release dates June 5th, 2018 in Los Angeles. And then we've got June 15th, 2018 in the rest of the United States. Running time 118 minutes. This movie drags on too long. Enough about Mr. Incredible trying and failing to be a good dad. Enough with that. I don't care about him ruining his daughter's dream guy relationship at school or not being able to teach his son math or having issues with his baby boy who's got 14 superpowers. There's too much family stuff in this. Some of it is funny, though. I have to admit, the baby made me laugh when he spilled cereal on the floor. That was funny. All right. Country, United States language, English, budget of $200 million, and a box office of a whopping $1.243 billion. What did Disney do with all those billions of dollars that they made off this movie? Well, maybe 1 billion or close to it. What did they do with that money? Did they give it back to the shareholders and then watch their company go down the toilet? What is going on with this? Rant, rant, rant. Budget of 200 million, such a waste of money. I think movies should be made for 10,000 or less. How about 3,000 or less? Avenger 6 is in the chat room. So Avenger 6 says he wants to collaborate on a movie with me. That sounds pretty cool. I sent him the AI script for, what was it? Satanic walkie-talkies or something. It was a pretty good script. He said he was going to compare and contrast it, but I never got a response. Across the board, that would be fun to see what they could deal with it. Oh, Invasion of the Walkie-Talkies. Invasion of the Walkie-Talkies. That's the script that I sent to Avenger 6. I've been busy. Sorry, my friend. Still very interested. Okay. I'll wait for Avenger 6 to come up with an alternate script for Invasion of the Walkie-Talkies. All right. And we'll do it for under $500. We'll pay the actors with food, and we'll get this thing going somehow. All right. The Pars, The Incredibles, and Lucius Best Frozone battle the Underminer in Munichburg. The superheroes prevent the villain from destroying City Hall, but they fail to stop him from robbing a bank and making his escape. And then we never see the Underminer. It's all about this screenslaver dude. All right. The resulting massive property damage prompt the government to shut down the superhero relocation program, ending financial assistance for the supers. I wonder why Bruce Willis is considered a hero when he destroyed all that property in Die Hard. I was actually rooting for the policeman in Die Hard. Anyway, financial assistance for the supers is finito. We've got Violet's classmate and love interest, Tony Reidinger. Isn't Violet a little young to be dating boys? She looks like she's 9 years old, the same age as my son when he saw this movie in the theater. She discovers her superhero identity. Agent Rick Dicker accidentally erases Tony's entire knowledge of Violet instead of just this incident. So we've got the mind control theme going. Government mind control programs This is this is uh, the only time worth watching, or the only scenes worth watching in this movie, are about mind control. Can Pixar stop making sequels, please? I think Incredibles 2 is so terrible. The bad guy is so badly done. I will check it out and get back the title. Sounds amazing. All right. Avenger 6 is on it. I thought the villain was a girl. It was there's a little plot twist here, but I guess Avenger 6 is referring to the Underminer, the villain who causes havoc and then he just disappears. That is a ridiculous villain. I have to agree with that. Wealthy siblings, Winston and Evelyn Devar, who run the telecommunications company DevTech, propose secret missions to Helen, Bob, and Lucius, which are to be recorded and broadcast in a movement to regain public trust in superheroes. Winston chooses Helen for their initial missions as she has caused the least property damage. Initially reluctant to be away from her family and risking getting into trouble with the law, Helen accepts after a talk with Bob. Meanwhile, Winston rehouses the Parrs in a luxury mansion. Bob struggles in his new role as a stay-at-home parent, left to deal with violence, dejection over Tony's forgetting their first date. Oh, poor Violet. He can't go to the movies with his dream 10-year-old. Anyways, Dash's math homework and the chaos of baby Jack's burgeoning superpowers. He expresses envy for Helen, and at Lucius's advice, he calls on Edna Mode to babysit Jack. Meanwhile, in the city of New Urbim, Helen encounters the supervillain Screenslaver, a hacker who can perform hypnosis through any screen. Actually, it's a pizza delivery driver. After preventing him from destroying a crowded hover train and thwarting his assassination attempt on an ambassador, she tracks his signals and she infiltrates his base. Defeating him, she unmasks him only to discover a disoriented pizza delivery driver. At a party celebrating Helen's success, Winston announces a summit of world leaders to legalize the supers on live television hosted aboard his luxury hydrofoil yacht, the Everjust, and attended by all supers coming out of hiding. Helen realizes Screenslaver lured her to a decoy double, and the pizza delivery driver was under the control of hypnotic goggles. Now we're getting somewhere. More mind control, but it's not government mind control, it's multinational corporation mind control. Evelyn reveals herself to be the true Screenslaver, and Evelyn hypnotizes Helen. Here's the plot twist we're talking about. Restraining her using her goggles and a freezing cell that negates her self-stretching superpower. Evelyn blames society's overdependence on the supers for the deaths of her and Winston's parents, as their father was shot by burglars after the newly outlawed supers Phyronic and Gazer Beam did not answer his calls for aid, and their mother died of grief. I couldn't understand Evelyn's motivation here. It's quite obvious that her father died because the supers were made black market underground, and so they had no interest in helping an ordinary citizen at the time. So why would she take it out on them if they were just obeying the law? I guess she was mad that they didn't break the law to save her dad. Okay, that's a little far fetched. Evelyn plans to sabotage her brother's summit to ruin the reputation of all supers once more and keep them outlawed in the hopes that the public will be safer with self sufficient crime fighting. So she's saying the government is more capable of fighting crime than the supers? This thing is getting more idiotic by the minute. But it's a cartoon, it's geared toward 9-year olds, so you can't expect much from this film, although it is better than the original. Evelyn lures Bob into a trap on the Everjust, goggling him too. Evelyn sends 6 hypnotized supers to subdue Violet and Dash. Lucius arrives to protect them, but Lucius is overwhelmed and goggled as well. Violet, Dash, and Jack escape in the Incredible, the supercar once owned by Bob, and deducing their parents are in danger, they stow away on the Everjust. On board, Helen, Bob, and Lucius are forced to broadcast themselves, giving villainous speeches, subduing the ship's crew, and locking its course toward Munichburg at a disastrous pace. When the children arrive, Jack removes the goggles on Helen, who in turn frees Bob and Lucius. They work together to release the other mind-controlled supers, and they safely prevent the Everjust collision with the city. Evelyn tries to escape in the yacht's parasite jet, but Evelyn is caught by Helen and Evelyn is arrested. With another disaster averted and the positive publicity surrounding this, supers around the world regain their legal status. Sometime later, Tony is picked up by Violet and her family in The Incredible for their reinstated movie date. All right. So we mentioned the cast already. I'm not going to go through that again. Development. While publishing The Incredibles 2004, Brad Bird had already conceptualized the eventual approach of a sequel where Bob and Helen Parr would switch roles and Jack would develop multiple powers unknown to the family. Following The Incredibles, Bird directed Ratatouille, 2007, his next film for Pixar. Near its premiere in June 2007, Bird said he was open to an idea of a sequel to The Incredibles, but only if it could be better than the original. He stated, I have pieces that I think are good, but I don't have them all together. In a May 2013 interview, Bird reiterated his interest in a sequel. I've been thinking about it. People think that I have not been, but I have because I love those characters and love that world. I have many elements that I think would work really well in another Incredibles film. And if I can get them to click all together, I would probably want to do that. At the Disney shareholder meeting in March 2014, Disney CEO and chairman Bob Iger confirmed that Pixar was working on an incredible sequel and that Bird would return as both director and screenwriter. Bird started the script around April 2015, and Bird said that the incredible sequel would be his next film after Tomorrowland 2015. One challenge in writing Incredibles 2 was how to deal with the large number of superhero films and television series that had been released since the first film, such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, also known as MCU. To try to differentiate the sequel, Bird wanted to avoid tropes related to the superhero genre. I don't think that kind of idea stays interesting for very long. For me, the interesting thing was never the superhero part of it. It was more the family dynamic and how do superheroes things play into that. He also wanted to include some unused ideas from the first film, and that the new story would focus on Helen Parr, Elastigirl. So we've got the feminists coming out of her sort of stay-at-home mom role. Now she's stepping up to the plate. She's wearing the pants in the family, so to speak. Another reason not to watch this. The sequel was, it seems like they make the woman in this movie the ultimate hero. The dad figure is just a total loser. Everything he does is just, everything he touches turns to poop, basically, in this one. Though the sequel was released 13 and a half years after the first, Bird did not want to use a narrative element like an ellipsis or to come up with new characters, and instead continued from where the first film left off. That stupid, ridiculous Underminer character. It looked like a big drill car that just bore through the earth. And it was just the most ridiculous villain that you could imagine. Good point, Venger 6. They are even saying they're going to make Toy Story 5. I think I'll skip that one. If they do, all Pixar workers instantly lose their jobs and fall through trapdoors in the floors. The man, the myth, and legend, Wolfie Waltz. The Iron Giant is Brad Bird's best accomplishment. Well, I'll have to check that one out. And doing the voice for Edna Mode. All right. So the continuity here allowed Brad Bird to keep characters with the same superpowers and not to have to develop new ones, nor did he need to figure out how to deal with Violet and Dash being adults. They also allowed Brad Bird to keep Jack as an infant with an array of powers, which Bird likened to how infants are able to understand numerous languages. While the plot of the 2005 follow-up video game to The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer, begins at the same point of time, the film discards the game continuity. The film was produced with a production budget of $200 million. In November 2016, Pixar announced that Holly Hunter and Samuel L. Jackson would reprise their roles. During the 2017 D23 Expo, it was confirmed that Craig T. Nelson and Sarah Vowell would also reprise their roles, and that Spencer Fox, the original voice of Dashel Dash Parr, would be replaced by younger newcomer Huckleberry Minor. Later that month, Bird and John Ratzenberger were also confirmed as reprising their characters from the first film. I thought Bird played a different character in Incredibles 2, or maybe he voiced two characters, I guess. In November 2017, Pixar announced that Bob Odenkirk and Catherine Keener had joined the cast in January 2018. It was announced that Sophia Bush and Isabella Rossellini from Blue Velvet, are you kidding me, would voice new characters Void and the Ambassador, while Jonathan Banks would voice Rick Dicker after the character's original voice actor Bob Luckey retired in 2014 and his death in 2018. The film was dedicated to Luckey's memory. One advantage that Pixar had with Incredibles 2 was the advancement of technology the company had seen since the original film, and a team of much more experienced animators. Producer John Walker said, "I think that one of the things that excited Brad and Ralph Eggleston, the production designer, was that the technology existed now to finally realize the designs in the way that they had hoped to realize them in 2004. There are no notions of, well, we don't know how to do long hair. We don't know how to do humans. We don't know how to do muscles. Everybody knows how to do it. It's just now about doing it quickly." Because Pixar no longer uses the same systems for the first film, all the characters had to be recreated from scratch on the computer again. The studio also used physically based human eye models for the characters for the first time, which possibly made the eyes larger and more stylized than that of real humans. In 2015, Bird confirmed that Michael Giacchino would return to compose the score. Giacchino began work around May 2017. The soundtrack album was released on June 15, 2018, and on CD 2 weeks later. In addition to the film's score, it includes the vocalized theme songs for Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and Elastigirl heard in the credits, as well as bonus versions of the song sung by Disney's a cappella group, D Cappella, and the latter's version of the track The Glory Days from the first film. A 53-second teaser trailer premiered on November 18, 2017, during ESPN's broadcast of College Game Day. It received 113 million views in the first 24 hours, becoming the most viewed trailer for an animated film up until the release of the teaser trailer for Frozen 2 in February 2019, which surpassed it with 116.4 million views in its first 24 hours. It is also the 14th most viewed trailer overall. The studio spent a total of $150 million promoting the film. In the month of the release of the film, Elastigirl's new costume in Incredibles 2 was added in the video game Disney Magic Kingdoms, along with a limited time event to unlock Jack Jack. An Incredibles 2 graphic novel and comic miniseries was published by Dark Horse Comics in 2018. The graphic novel titled Incredibles 2 Heroes at Home was written by Liz Marsham and illustrated by Nicoletto Baldari. A comic miniseries titled Incredibles 2 Crisis in Midlife and Other Stories was written by Christos Gage and Landry Walker and illustrated by uh, Guru, Gurihiru J. Bone, Andrea Greppi, and Roberta Zanata. Roberta Zanata, excuse me. Christos Gage also wrote with Gian Claudio Vinci as illustrator another series titled Incredibles 2 Secret Identities. The series, like his Crisis in Midlife and Other Stories, focuses on what happens after the film. This particular series is about Violet, published in a single graphic novel by Dark Horse Comics on October 1st, 2019. In May 2018, a prose novel was released entitled Incredibles 2 A Real Stretch, an Elastigirl prequel story which focuses on the life of the character Elastigirl before the events of the first film. A Lego video game adaptation of both films was released on the same day as Incredibles 2. I think this was after my son gave up on Legos. He gave all his Legos to his cousin. And there was a big bucket of Legos he left at his grandmother's house in Paradise, which later burned down after she contracted dementia. A lot of things going on here during this this period of my life. I think I was still living in Daly City at this time, and and the owner of the house where I was living, she was trying to turn her house into an Airbnb hotel. Fortunately, I found a church friend who wanted to get in a relationship with me, but she ended up marrying some old black dude. And she had me move into up, what was it, Outer Sunset. You can still see the videos of my bachelor pad mouse mouse infested, mold infested, illegally built in-law unit. You can still see those videos, some of my older stuff from like 5 years ago. Or even last year I was living there. Anyways, Funko released several pop figures, including a Chase 1/6 variant of Violet in her invisible form, and several retail exclusives to Target and Hot Topic. There was a Jack as Edna Mode pop figure that released exclusively at San Diego Comic-Con in July 2018. In addition, Funko released several blind box mystery minis of characters from the film. Figpin released a box set of 5 characters: Edna E. Mode, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Dash, and Violet, limited to 1,000 pieces, which was released exclusively at the D23 Expo in August 2019. Numerous attendees camped out overnight to purchase the box set at the Figpin booth, which sold out quickly. The official premiere of Incredibles 2 took place in Los Angeles on June 5th, 2018. It was theatrically released in the rest of the United States on June 15, 2018. It was accompanied by Pixar's short film Bow. The film's release was originally scheduled for June 21st, 2019, but the date was moved forward to 2018 as it was ahead of schedule, and Pixar handed the 2019 release date over to Toy Story 4. And now they're doing an Incredibles 3 and a Toy Story 5. This is getting ridiculous. All right. Well, I got 2 thumbs up, 2 people in the chat room, and they promptly left. So let's get through this, shall we? Incredibles 2 was it was released digitally on October 23rd, 2018, and on DVD, Blu-ray, and Ultra HD Blu-ray on November 6th, 2018. The film made a revenue of $66.7 million from home video sales, with 3.4 million units sold, making it the 6th best-selling title of 2018. Incredibles 2 grossed $608.6 million in the US, Canada, and $634.2 million in other territories, for a total worldwide gross of $1.242 billion. On July 1st, 2018, the film passed $648 million at the worldwide box office, surpassing the $633 million the original film made in its entire theatrical run. It ended its run as the 9th highest grossing film of all time domestically, and the highest grossing animated film domestically. The film crossed the $1 billion mark on July 30th, 2018, becoming the 7th animated film and the 36th film of all time to reach the milestone. It was also the 5th animated Disney film, the 3rd Pixar film, and Disney's 18th film overall to gross $1 billion worldwide, as well as the fastest animated film to gross $1 billion, doing so in only 46 days, surpassing Minions' 49 days, but later being surpassed by The Lion King in 2019, 21 days, also made by Disney, and the Super Mario Brothers movies 25 days in 2023. On August 12th, the film surpassed Toy Story 3, $1.067 billion, to become the highest grossing Pixar film worldwide, and held this record until being surpassed by Inside Out 2 in 2024. Deadline Hollywood calculated the net profit of the film to be $447.4 million when factoring together all expenses and revenues, making it the 3rd most profitable release of 2018. So there you have it, the official profit number on Wikipedia, which is unusual. They spent a massive amount of money promoting this thing. In April 2018, early box office projections had Incredibles 2 grossing $110 million in its opening weekend in the US and Canada. In May 2018, a month before the film's release, tracking revised to an opening weekend of $140 million or more. A week prior to the film's opening, Fandango reported that pre-sale of tickets for the film had exceeded that of previous mid-year blockbusters Finding Dory, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Suicide Squad at some point in their release cycles. I did take my son to see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I watched Suicide Squad with my ex-girlfriend, the tall Chinese volleyball player who was Muslim, and she was having some issues with her bladder. Anyways, By the week of its release, opening weekend projections had reached upwards of $150 million. dollars. A day before release, it became Fandango's top pre-selling animated film of all time, outselling the previous record holder Finding Dory. The film grossed $18.5 million from Thursday night previews, including weekend projections to as high as $174 million. The previews set the record for an animated film, doubling Finding Dory's $9.2 million, and were higher than the likes of fellow superhero films Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor, Ragnarok, and Justice League. It made $71.6 million on its first day, including previews, the best ever for an animated film, besting Dory's $54.7 million by 31% and 14th highest of all time. It went on to debut to $182.7 million, the eighth best opening of all time, far ahead of Finding Dory's animated record of $135.1 million, and more than the entire lifetime gross of Pixar's A Bug's Life, $162.8 million, Cars 3, $152.9 million, and The Good Dinosaur, $123.1 million. The film set animated records for its Monday and Tuesday grosses, making $23.9 million, beating the $23.4 million made by Shrek 2 in May 2004, and $27.1 million, beating Finding Dory's $23.1 million, respectively. Its Tuesday gross also set a June record, topping Jurassic World, $24.3 million in 2015. By Thursday, its seventh day of release, the film had grossed $269.4 million, topping the entire lifetime domestic gross of the original, not accounting for inflation, $261.4 million. In its second weekend, the film dropped 56% to $80.9 million, finishing second behind newcomer Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, $148 million, marking the first time two films opened to over $100 million in back-to-back weekends. It remained in second place in its third weekend, grossing $45.5 million, and third in its fourth weekend with $29 million, respectively. On July 7th, its 23rd day of release, the film crossed $495 million, passing Finding Dory to become the highest grossing animated film and Pixar's highest grossing film of all time domestically. And the following day became the first animated film to gross over $500 million domestically. On September 2nd, its 80th day of release, it became the first animated film to gross over $600 million domestically. Incredibles 2 ended its run at the box office as the third highest grossing film of 2018, behind Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War. So in other words, this movie is super lamestream. I wouldn't be surprised if it has a popularity gauge on IMDb that's way up there. But we'll see in a minute, because I'm only about halfway through the Wikipedia page at this point, and I haven't gone through my list. Number one on the list is 2001 Maniacs, 2005. Then we got Steel Justice, 1987, followed by World Youth Day Krakow, A Pilgrimage of Mercy, 2017. So I'll try to get to the first two later tonight. Then I'll wake up early tomorrow morning, very early, like 4:30. Let's see. To to update my movies list with more canon flicks. And the Monday is a paid holiday here. We're celebrating Martin Luther King Jr., who was a communist, and but he believed in nonviolence, and he was not Catholic. He belonged to some other Protestant sect. Anyways, outside the United States, the film made $51.5 million from 25 countries in its opening weekend for a global debut of $231.5 million. This made it the biggest international opening weekend for an animated film, surpassing Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Mexico was the largest debut with $12.3 million, followed by Australia, $7.7 million, and Russia, $5.4 million. In its second weekend of release, the film made $58.6 million from 28 countries, bringing its two-week total to $134.7 million. Its largest market was China, where it made $21.2 million, the biggest ever opening for a Pixar film in the country. It was also released in India, where it made $3.3 million. In the UK, the film grossed $12.6 million in its opening weekend, the second biggest opening day for Pixar after Toy Story 3. As of November 18, 2018, the biggest markets in terms of total earnings are the UK, $73.1 million, followed by China, $51.5 million, Japan, $43.9 million, France, $41.7 million, and Brazil, $37.6 million. Incredibles 2 received very positive reviews from film critics who praised its character arcs, themes, and action sequences. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of a whopping 93% based on 390 reviews, with an average rating of 7.9 out of 10. I'm rating this a 4 out of 10, much lower. The website's critical consensus reads, Incredibles 2 reunites Pixar's family crime-fighting team for a long-awaited follow-up that may not quite live up to the original, but comes close enough to earn its name. I absolutely hated the original. It had nothing going for it. I didn't laugh a single time. But I think the Jack baby was just so ridiculous and outrageous in this one. Plus the mind control theme made it a better film. But as I said before, that's not saying much in the case of the original being such a stink bomb. On Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating to review, the film has a weighted average score of 80 out of 100 based on 51 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film a rare grade of A+ on an A+ to F scale, the same score as the first film, making it the first and so far only film franchise to have received this grade for every installment. Those on Post-Track gave the film a 93% overall positive score and an 83% definite recommend. Jack Shepard of The Independent reported that Incredibles 2 received more positive reviews than most of Pixar's previous sequels, which had generally garnered mixed reception, namely Cars 2, 2011, University 2013, Finding Dory 2016, and Cars 3 2017. Robert Abley of The Wrap praised the film, saying, "Whatever the opposite of phoning in a sequel is, that's Bird's progressive-minded, thunderously fun mix of super saves, throwback aesthetics, and family comedy. Progressive-minded? What the heck? A. Dow, writing for the AV Club, felt it was a sparkling contraption of an animated comedy, funny and often wondrous in its mid-century modern vision of an alternate U.S. frozen in the amber of bygone idealism. David Ehrlich of IndieWire gave the film a B plus, saying, "When the Pars are pushed out of their comfort zone, Bird settles into this altar, inciting a Spielberg level monorail chase that reaffirms Bird's elusive gift for kinetic and character-driven action filmmaking. The movie blasts off and never looks back." Stephanie Zacharek from Time considered it bold and rapturously entertaining, while David Sims at The Atlantic dubbed it dazzling, thought-provoking, and sometimes overwhelming in terms of plotting. Peter Travers of Rolling Stones gave the film a 3.5 out of 4 stars and said, "Long-awaited follow-up brings back everyone's favorite character superhero family," and suggests we should give our Cape Crusader pop obsessions a rest. Manola Dargis of the New York Times wrote a positive review of the film, saying, "The family that fights together remains the steadily throbbing, unbreakable heart of Incredibles 2, even when Bob and Helen swap traditional roles." That was the most annoying part of the movie. There's something too self-conscious and overcompensating much. The Hollywood Reporter reported that even the critics who were more reserved in their praise agreed that Incredibles 2 was on par with the recent superhero films and one of the best sequels in recent memory. That's not saying much. Meanwhile, some critics were divided on whether or not the sequel surpasses or matches the original. Of course, it surpasses the original. Variety's Owen Gleiberman called the film fun, but far from incredible, and wrote, "It's true that the Toy Story films, all 3 of which are fantastic, did variations on the same theme of a toy's obsolescence. But as movies, they kept the emotions close to the surface. In Incredibles 2, we never get that rush of feeling." Mark Kermode, writing for The Guardian, gave the film 4 out of 5 stars and said, "Slapstick genius, profound social comment, and a monstrously funny infant combined to conjure a magical second outing for the superhero family." John Nugent of Empire magazine also gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, saying, "There's some quibbles to be had in an overfamiliar setup and an underserved villain, but overall, this is a gloriously fun family parable and as entertaining as any superhero movie you'll see this year." Brian Telling Brian Tellerico of RogerEbert.com gave the films 3.5 out of 4 stars and said, "Incredibles 2 understands something that most family sequels, even the Pixar ones, failed to comprehend. We just don't want to repeat something we loved before. We want to love it all over again. You will with Incredibles 2. Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune gave the film 2.5 out of 4 stars and said, "Incredibles 2 is content to punch the clock and stick to straight, bombastic action mode. In that mode, composer Giacchino's music is the most successful element, running nimble, beautifully orchestrated variations on themes that feel familiar in the best ways while retaining their spark. The animation is bright and visually dynamic. The script, well, if the title were Satisfactories 2, it would be about right. Ty Burr for the Boston Globe called it a clattery, unfocused affair that at times is more irritating than fun. Todd McCarthy of the Hollywood Reporter gave the film positive review, saying boosted by central characters that remain vastly engaging and a deep supply of wit, Incredibles 2 certainly proves worth the wait, even if it hits the target, but not the bullseye in quite the way that the first one did. Many disability advocates, including the Epilepsy Foundation, have raised concerns that movie scenes with flashing lights, including that in Incredibles 2 of Elastigirl's fight with the screensaver, can trigger seizures in viewers affected by photosensitive epilepsy. As a result, several theaters posted warnings for audiences. Disney told USA Today that it appreciated those efforts, and then in a memo asked all theaters exhibiting the movie to warn audiences Incredibles 2 contains a sequence of flashing lights which may affect customers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Disability advocates have warned that the screensaver's hypnotic screens shown here on Wikipedia may trigger epileptic seizures. In response to this, a re-edited version was released in the UK with all affected sequences altered so that any flashing lights and strobe effects now pass the Harding test. Academy Awards. February 24th, 2019. Best Animated Feature, Brad Bird, John Walker, and Nicole Paris Grindle nominated. Alliance of Women Film Journalists, January 10th, 2019. Best Animated Film, Brad Bird nominated. Best Animated Female, Holly Hunter as Elastigirl won. Annie Awards. Annie Award for Best Animated Feature. Brad Bird, John Walker, and Nicole Paris Grindle nominated. Outstanding Achievement for Animated Effects in an Animated Feature Production. Greg Gladstone, Tolga Tikin, Jason Johnston, Eric LaCroix, and Krizeltov Roast nominated. Outstanding Achievement for Character Animation in an Animated Feature Production. Lance Fight nominated. Outstanding Achievement for Character Design in an Animated Feature Production. Matt Notley nominated. Annie Award for Directing in a Feature Production. Brad Bird nominated. Annie Award for Music in a Feature Production. Michael Giacchino won. Outstanding Achievement for Storytelling in an Animated Feature Production. Dean Kelly won, and Bobby Alcid Rubio was nominated. Annie Award for Voice Acting in a Feature Production. Holly Hunter nominated. Annie Award for Writing in a Feature Production. Brad Bird nominated. Outstanding Achievement for Editorial in an Animated Feature Production. Steven Schaefer, Anthony J. Greenberg, and Katie Schaefer Bishop nominated. We've got the British Academy Children's Awards feature film. Brad Bird, John Walker, and Nicole Paris Grindle nominated. British Academy Film Awards Best Animated Film. Brad Bird, John Walker, and Nicole Paris Grindle nominated. Chicago Film Critics Association Awards Best Animated Feature. Brad Bird nominated. Critics' Choice Movie Awards Best Animated Feature. Brad Bird nominated. Golden Globe Awards Best Animated Feature Film. Incredibles 2 nominated. Hollywood Music and Media Awards. Original score animated film Michael Giacchino nominated. Humanitas Prize Family Feature Film Brad Bird nominated. Kids Choice Award Favorite Animated Movie 1. Incredibles 2. Los Angeles Film Critics Association Best Animated Feature Incredibles 2, second place. National Board of Review Best Animated Film Brad Bird 1. New York Film Critics Circle Awards Best Animated Feature nominated Incredibles 2. San Diego Films Critics Society Incredibles 2 Best Animated Feature nominated. San Francisco Film Critics Circle Best Animated Feature Incredibles 2 nominated. Seattle Film Critics Society Best Animated Feature Brad Bird nominated. St. Louis Film Critics Association Best Animated Feature Incredibles 2 nominated. People's Choice Awards Favorite Family Movie Incredibles 2 won. People's Choice Awards Movie of 2018 Incredibles 2 nominated. Satellite Awards Best Animated or Mixed Media Film Brad Bird nominated. Saturn Awards Best Animated Film Incredibles 2 nominated. Teen Choice Awards Choice Summer Movie Incredibles 2 won. Visual Effects Society Outstanding Visual Effects in an Animated Feature Brad Bird, John Walker, Rick Sire, Bill Wattrell nominated. Outstanding Animated Character in an Animated Feature Michael Makarewicz, Ben Porter, Edgar Rodriguez, Kevin Singleton for Helen Parr nominated. Outstanding Created Environment in an Animated Feature Christopher M. Burrows, Philip Metzchan, Michael Rudder, Joshua West for The Parr House nominated. Outstanding Model in a Photoreal or Animated Project Neil Blevins, Philip Meshin, Kevin Singleton for Underminer Vehicle nominated. Outstanding Effects Simulations in an Animated Feature Paul Kaniak, Tiffany Erickson Clone, Vincent Saratella, Matthew Kiyoshi Wong nominated. Washington, D.C. Area Film Critics Association Awards Best Animated Feature Brad Bird nominated. Best Animated Voice Performance Holly Hunter nominated. Following the release of Incredibles 2, director Brad Bird acknowledged that the film's truncated production schedule resulted in many plot lines and ideas he had for the film being cut from the final version. He cited Pixar's decision in October 2016 to swap the release dates of Toy Story 4 and Incredibles 2, which meant that Bird's film lost a full year of production. Bird stated that the lingering plot lines could lead to a third installment, just as the plot lines of the first did with the second. There were a lot of ideas that we had on this film that could be used, whether it's another Incredibles film or something else. Cast members, including Samuel L. Jackson and Sophia Bush, have expressed interest in reprising their roles for the third film, and Bush herself expressing the desires of a team-up with Sarah Vowell's Violet for the third film. Producers John Walker would not rule out a third film. In May 2024, in the lead up to the first film's 20th anniversary, an interview with Pixar CCO Pete Docter and Pixar president Jim Morris revealed that the studio was considering making more sequels to their popular franchises. Among them, The Incredibles. Incredibles 3 was officially announced by Doctor at the D23 Expo event in August 2024, with Bird returning to develop. In June 2025, it was announced that Peter Sohn would direct the film due to Bird's commitment to the film Ray Gun 2026. However, Bird will remain involved as screenwriter and executive producer, while Dana Murray will produce. On August 30th, 2025, at Destination D23 2025, it was revealed that Incredibles 3 is scheduled to release around 2028. So you can't stop this Disney juggernaut. They failed badly with Snow White, and now they're all right. Incredibles 2 2008, rated PG, an hour and 58 minutes, way too long. Could say whopping 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 365,000 ratings. I suspected this. I thought this would be in the top 1,000 in terms of popularity, and it is. It's 984 in terms of popularity, and it's up 651. So it's getting more popular with age. The Incredibles family takes on a new mission, which involves a change in family roles. Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, must manage the house while his wife, Helen Elastigirl, goes out to save the world. Another annoying feminist idea that the woman is in charge of the more important stuff. The man is just a useless piece of turd. I guess that's the woke element of Disney in this. Disgusting. All right. Here's a review from Jonathan C. 20759 on IMDb. The title of the review on IMDb is Intense Seizure Warning. It's a much more flattering review than mine. A Jonathan C. 20759 gives this one an 8 out of 10. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. I just like this film. This movie is fantastic. Love the story and the characters. Where this movie loses points is in 3 separate continuous sequences of intense flashing. My sister is epileptic, and with no warnings, we weren't prepared for any of it. She ended up seizing after the first sequence, and we had to cover her eyes for the there too. If you or any family members are sensitive to this sort of a thing, avoid this movie. All right, more like this: The Incredibles, Monsters University, Toy Story 2, and Finding Dory. All the lamestream stuff that we hate. All the Disney stuff that we hate. At 1 hour and 58 minutes, this is not only the longest Pixar film to date, but it was also the longest computer animated feature film to date, until it was beaten by Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 2023. Violet's date with Tony was on Friday evening, but the next morning, Mr. Incredible sends his kids to school. Edna Mode is quoted as saying to the tired Bob, who's holding Jack, done properly, parenting is a heroic act done properly. Bob can't do anything properly. He's just a useless turd husband in this movie. Stay at home Mr. Mom is basically what he's doing. He's Mr. Mom. This is a dedication to, in the closing credits, the film is dedicated to the super families and friends whose love and support keep us strong. Whatever that means. International editions, such as the one shown in the Philippines, feature different graphics that, although visually different from the North American edition, retain the universal meaning. The title of Jack's storybook was changed from Doozles or dozing to multiple letter Z's. Dash's math book, he loses the title New Math for Life and is replaced by a math equation. This is featured in the Chronic Riff. Let's take it from the top, 2018. The soundtracks, Mr. Incredible music and lyrics by Michael Giacchino. We'll have to give him the score credit. Arranged by, produced by Michael Giacchino and Alex Lacamori. Lacamori. Anyways, can't pronounce that guy's last name. Recorded by Derek Lee. Countries and states in Japan. It's got an official Facebook page and an official website. The language is English, also known as Los Increíbles, 2. Filming locations, Pixar Animation Studios, 200 Park Avenue, Emeryville, California, USA. Production companies, Walt Disney Pictures and Pixar Animation Studios. A budget of $200 million estimated. Opening weekend, US and Canada, $182,687,905. June 17, 2018. Gross US and Canada, $608,581,744, and gross worldwide $1,243,225,600. And for the first time, it looks like IMDb finally got the box office statistics correct. Usually they're messed up or they're confusing. Tech specs, runtime 1 hour 58 minutes, 118 minutes. This is in color, and the sound mix is Dolby Atmos, Dolby Digital, IMAX 6-track, RO 11.1, Dolby Surround 7.1, and SDDS. Aspect ratio of 2.39 to 1. So we're up over an hour and 18 minutes on this thing. I got 2 thumbs up, 2 chat room friends who popped up, Avenger 6 and Wolfie Wopes. Wolfie Wopes. Don't know who that is, but he says, I'm the living legend, the man, the myth, and the legend. All right. So I'll try to get through 2001 Maniacs and Steel Justice later today. And then Monday, the holiday, we'll do the next 3 on the list, none of which are Karate Man films. So I've got 1 Karate Man film and 1 possible Adrian film, followed by 3 picks of my own. So that should be exciting. I'm on my 2nd movie review, and I'm shooting for 7 this 3-day weekend. Laters.